you want to reference
If
something,
I
it's
could
in the
if I
Bible. They
could
have
finish my
multiple
point, young
women in
lady,
there.
because I'm a man and you're cutting me off, and I don't like
I
that.
apologize.
All you have to do is let people talk long enough. That's what I do. I'm not going back and forth with you because you're wrong, and I don't want to take your money either because I don't need it.
Point it out specifically. So let's do this
I
because I want my
just
$50. I want my
sorry.
$50. Go to Webster right now. Everything that I said is a fact. When
It's
you
not.
look up the definition, aversion is included. When you look up the context of aversion as it relates to misogyny, it relates to biasness. So we can put the money on it to make it fun. I don't really care what you need or what you don't need. It was my comment. But all of the things that I have said. So anybody who is listening, fact check that. Literally Google Webster definition of misogyny. Aversion will be included, and then look at the context of what aversion means to the word misogyny.
Do you think that in today's climate, it's harder to date or feel like you can find women trustworthy or genuine?
I don't think no women is like genuine.
Okay.
I think a genuine relationship is when you find somebody that y'all meet on a common ground of having nothing and y'all build something together. That's really genuine. Like everything's transactional.
Man, so I made the comment. I said, have you ever been married?
No.
So I made this comment that marriage is for old people and poor people.
True.
You agree with that?
Facts.
Man, see, and I got a lot of flack for that because I feel like when you're in those areas, it works. That's real love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like that's where real love is stacked up and placed.
Right. I think that marriage is kind of like, I don't see no men out here being like, yo, I can't wait till I get married. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that's kind of like done for women. But as far as me, like, I can only speak for myself. I'm never getting married. Like, not on paper.
Yeah. You said you would give a girl a 10-carat ring.
Yeah.
You would do the wedding. You would do the house, buy her house, but you just wouldn't do the paperwork.
But what is the purpose of the paperwork?
Right. Well, the purpose of the paperwork
is to put you in court.
That's
what it's paperwork for.
It's to create
it's to put you in court, period.
It is to create
and some leverage for the girl.
It's the security for whoever is less well off.
Well, if you don't believe in me like that and you think I'm capable of actually being married to you and having children with you and just kicking you to the curb, and you don't have faith in the type of woman that you are, and you starting a relationship with an out. Like, I don't like that.
Would you do something like, would you have a will or a trust where it's like, if we did divorce, like, I got you and you're
no
straight?
Divorce, no. So this is
or not divorce, but if we did split up,
like we're together. If she's like, well, I want to need some security. I've been living with you doing this, and I was just like, well, I'll put you in the will. So if something happened to me, you know, you can make some decisions. Some stuff will go to you. But if we break up, you out the will. That's like marriage.
That's realistic.
That's like marriage, though.
Yeah, but I would still want my woman to work. So if I'm taking care of all the bills and I'm like, you're living in my home with me and you still work, you're basically stacking money and you're building your.
Because she can have her own money while you're paying all the bills and this and that. Yeah, I get that.
But it's the thing too. What about like you want to go somewhere? Like, baby, let's go to the Bahamas. I gotta work, baby. Baby, I want to go. Like, you know, so like when you got some money, it's like if she working, how you go? Now you like, damn, she working so much, I'm gonna go to the Bahamas with this other girl.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, in reality, any woman that deals with me knows that I'm gonna have other women involved regardless anyway.
Okay. Understanding.
Not in a disrespectful fashion, but just the way our life moves, right? Like, if I go somewhere and you're my woman and you know I have a high sex drive or this, that, and third, are we being honest with each other if I can leave you for 3 to 4 weeks and say that I'm not entertaining any other pussy?
Ooh.
That's crazy.
When I think about it, he's like he said, marriage is for poor people, old people. And most of the poor people I know are married, and so are most of the old people. So I never thought about that. You got a point.
Yeah, I think these discussions take a different turn. I don't know if you fellas have the privilege of dating women with money, but they sound a lot like the men with money when they got money. The only time you have this exchange is when the woman can clearly understand that she's coming into a situation where you're more prominent and more dominant financially. So then it's the whole, oh, well, you know, you tell them about a prenup, they get offended. But when they're in a position like you, they typically come with that foresight, that same type of energy. They want to protect what they work for. So that's why I always advocate for dating women who got money. Stop dating these broke women, fellas.
True. How many, let's be real. There's not a lot of women out here that have money. There's not a lot of them. And the ones that think they have money are the ones that make $150,000, $200,000. You and I both know what we're talking about when we say when someone has money, and it's not those women. That's not what we're talking about, because those women, like you said, sound like men. They do. Oh, I make 6 figures. I do this. I don't need a man. You know, all of the talking points for when people have money. those women aren't even desirable for men with money. Like, how many men do you know on average, like the men you know who actually have the type of money we're talking about, even give a damn how much money their women have?
No. You're absolutely right. It's not so much a care of them making the money. This is why I advocate for it. Making money changes a person, male or female alike. But you brought up women. When women earn, they come to the table a lot different than when they can clearly see a disparity. That's all I'm saying. So even if it's their 200,000 to your 5 million, her 200,000, she earned her 200. If she's not aware of where you're sitting, she's going to come and be like, check this out. I need to check that you're not coming in here trying to take what I've earned. That's why I say I advocate for women who make money. It's not the dollar amounts, the attitude.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, no, go ahead. No. You haven't really spoken. Well, I'll land really quickly. I just was going to say that I agree 1,000% because it's the same that I would want a prenup too. I'm an advocate of it. Most people who have worked for their own background, they have their own. When we join, this can be an empire, but I also have things, or I'll just speak to people also have things to protect. So the prenup conversation would be for her and his protection. So when you have a person that comes in and they're just like, I got the money, I'm the motion, you coming on board to this, it is actually a different perspective when the person feels, even if they're not at your financial value, so to speak, they have a value of their own. So they're like, let me tell you, here are my terms as well. I land there.
He's absolutely correct in his statement that it's natural for him to have more than one woman. This is a man's right. This is his nature, unless he chooses otherwise. I love the fact that he is saying it out loud. The one thing that I can appreciate about men nowadays is that they're talking more boldly about this rather than hiding behind lies and statements of cheating. Yeah, that's pretty much what I want to say. I think it's a wonderful statement that he made.
I feel like men are going to move how they want to regardless. That's just my point of view on things. However, I do agree with him to an extent, unfortunately, because I just feel like when a man has the means to move a certain way or take care of, multiple women, he's going to, especially if he has the means to it. I remember a man told me once, he said, cheating is a rich man's sport. And at first I didn't understand it, but it makes sense because he has the means to do so.
Well, he's not cheating. They're exercising their options, and exercising your options.
Well, yeah, he's not cheating per se, but what type of relationship is this man actually looking for?
Okay, so as I said, he's exercising his options. He's not cheating. And it's every man's right? We just, as women, respect the one with the money, because if you're going to lay down with someone else, right, you have to pay me to do so. But this is every man's sport, or else women wouldn't have children, multiple children by multiple different fathers.
Can I ask a question?
How does that correlate?
Correlate to what?
To I guess your point, them having multiple different children with multiple different men, like how does that correlate to?
I was further backing up why
I guess
it's
the
every
cheating
man.
aspect.
Did you ask me a question? I'm trying to respond. Okay, so I said that to further back up my statement. I said that to further back up my statement without you having to ask an additional question, but you did anyway. I find it interesting that you only focused on that point. The original topic, or what I was responding to, is the fact that it's every man's sport, right? This is proven by the fact that most of the Black women have multiple children by multiple men that are not financially wealthy. So that's why.
Can I ask a question to you, Melanie?
Of course.
What's your point of reference for this being a man's right? Is it like a religious book, or is it just what you deem to be biology?
It's natural.
Okay, so just
lions. There's one lion and several lionesses. They kill the
Yeah.
cubs of any other prior men before they take over. And when they kill them, they actually
Yeah.
mount that woman the same day. So if you want me
Okay.
to reference something.
No, for sure. So this is my thing. A lot of times when we do this, this is the man's right and stuff like that. I'm not saying I disagree, right? But we leave out the woman's natural nature also, right?
You're
So if
talking
you're
about
talking,
whoredom?
yeah, no, I got you. So when we're talking about
Okay.
lions, right? Men wouldn't like the reality that once a bigger, stronger man comes and whoops your ass, these is my bitches now, right? They don't want to deal with that reality, but that's a part of how lions operate.
Your point?
That's I'm no, I'm fine with men having multiple women as long as we can acknowledge that women have a hypergamous nature, and they will leave you for the bigger, stronger man. I'm just trying to be
Further
fair.
proving, I just want you to know you're further proving my point about the baby mama epidemic. Thank you.
No, I don't mind proving your point. I just want to be fair.
Ma, you
In
do.
what way? Fair in what way?
But wait, I
So
thought the
I
baby
wanted
mama.
Hold on, just BK real quick. Fair in
see
what way? About
one
what?
more because men have a natural nature and so do women. So that's all.
What's the woman's natural nature?
The
Since I've
woman's
stated
not
the
the
men's.
wo- the if the man's natural nature is to have a bunch of women, cool, right? A woman's natural nature is to get with the man and or the men with the highest, with the most status, the most money, the most resources, the biggest, strongest men, and to
No,
leave that man for
you're
somebody else.
talking about whoredom. First of all, men and women are not equal, right? She is supposed to be given to her husband from her father. She's not even supposed to pick for herself. So you're talking about a more modern way of
Yeah,
things, right? Because
got you.
traditionally, she does not pick her husband because he's supposed to be vetted, right? This is how we end up with bodies, trying to do it ourselves, multiple baby daddies, like I said before.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going from what I wanted to clarify earlier. Are you going from some sort of doctrine, or are you going from just like biology? This is natural because you're going
This
from
is
something.
natural. It
I,
doesn't.
I got no. If I
In the
could finish my
Bible,
point,
if you want to
if
reference
if if
something,
I
it's
could
in the
if I
Bible.
could
It had
finish my
multiple
point, young
women in
lady,
there.
because I'm a man and you're cutting me off, and I don't like
I
that.
apologize.
Okay, so so we went from what's natural to a doctrine. So we went to the Bible from what's natural. So now you're using two points of reference. So that's why I want to know which one is it? Is it the Bible? Okay, we supposed to you supposed to be given to a man and all these other types of things, or is it just natural? We animals, we fucking.
Did you land?
Yes.
Okay. So if you want me to answer you, it would have to be both because you can find it in the Bible, you can find it in nature, and you can find it in men.
That's
Anything
very
else?
interesting. No, that's very interesting because my entire life, right? The vast majority of people, no matter where you are on earth, that practice the Bible, practice monogamy.
You're talking about the New Testament. The fact that it's present, it could be
Yeah,
found in the Old Testament. So you're picking and choosing which part of the Bible, like most people do, right?
yeah,
You're picking and choosing what point in the Bible you want to refer to. But I guess we're both right based off your statement.
So I don't read the Bible personally, but all I know is that, and when you look at the people who practice what's in the Bible, right? The vast majority of them would argue that a man is supposed to be with one woman, and you do have
As
the
I
you do
said,
have
New
the small groups
Testament.
of people who disagree.
As I said, New Testament.
Whether
Okay,
it's
we,
New
we use the
or
first
Old
one.
Testament. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They had
No,
wives,
I'm just saying we got to use.
concubines. They had wives and concubines.
Which they were not
Okay.
supposed to have. So if we're going to talk about the Bible, we
I
can
According,
have
just
that
wanted to say
conversation.
real,
But
are
and
they
by the
both
way,
not in the
all
Bible?
of you all,
Are they
I
both
will
not in the
give you
Bible?
I will give you respect because you're a human being, not because you're a man or a woman. Just you are a human being, and as you're speaking, I will give you respect. So, but nonetheless, here's the thing. She said the Bible and then got mad when you selected a portion of the Bible. What you said is still
No, I said
inclusive.
it can be
But
found
nonetheless, as
in the
it relates
Bible as
to
well as in
nature,
nature,
here
as
is
well
what
as
is
in
very
men. I said
Hey,
three
interesting.
Jody,
things.
one mic,
That
y'all. One mic, one mic.
Thank you. Here's what's very interesting about nature, and this is where biasness comes in, so I can bring in the definition. Biasness also includes aversion to, which is, I'm sorry, misogyny comes in, because misogyny also includes aversion to, and aversion is a bias. So here is where the biasness comes in, because she said men, it is a part of their nature, and related it to the lion, he can have as many women as he wants. He can fuck off. He can have all these babies, but oh my God, when she starts fucking off, she's a whore. We could, same behavior, same nature, but yet one gender does it, and this is their God, this is their right, this is nature. But the other gender, that's why you have whores and that's why you have baby mothers. This is complete misogyny and it's ridiculousness. I land there.
So to
Man,
be
a
real
back
quick,
and forth during monologues is so frustrating. But go ahead, Will.
just again, since we're making up definitions for more words, an aversion means a strong dislike, resistance, or feeling of wanting to avoid something. Doesn't mean bias, and it's also not a part of misogyny. Like you're not gonna get off the hook with this one. The definition of words, we have a dictionary in our language, and as complicated as our language is, orthography means, excuse me, as complicated as the orthography of our language is, it doesn't help us to start trying to remix definitions just to support points that we're trying to make. Like, so again, we've understand that what misogyny is, and now we should all understand what aversion actually is. A woman saying that a man in his nature is not monogamous, and then using the Bible as a source of another reason to support her point, is just her giving 2 points. It's not, those two things don't have to be from the same space. Yes, it's in the New Testament. I mean, one's in the New Testament, one's in the Old. And again, if you look at what's in the New Testament, that's what most people are taught by. That's where most of the values come from. That's where most of the values for Christians, come from, people too. And I know that BK is very well versed and read when it comes to the Bible. And one of the things that I was expecting for her to push back on, if it was to be pushed back on, was the point that you just pushed back. She accepted that. So it's I feel bad saying it because as a guy who should have a bunch of women and won't. There's nothing wrong with identifying and acknowledging a man's nature. There's nothing wrong with that at all, because it's what a man is meant to do. But to Melanin's point, she does
I think
prove
the Bible contradicts nature.
So to Melanin's point, she does also, she did tie it to saying single baby mama culture, and how, again, there's, for every black woman without a child, there's 2 black men. And that does say something about that.
Just to respond to, so the definition, and let's do this, we could do a cash app because you're going to owe me $50. So I already quoted that Webster's definition, because you are well aware that there are different forms of definition, but Webster is one of the long-standing places that define things, specifically has aversion in it. And when you look at the context of words, because reading a definition, there's parts of speech, nouns, pronouns, etc. We shouldn't have to go into the semantics of this. An aversion, in the context that it's used in, can be biasness. There's also prejudice that's used in misogyny. So that was my point, just to be very clear on that. And then the second part, there was a question by the gentleman who asked her, are you speaking about biology or are you speaking of some form of doctrine? She specifically said both, and she said the Bible. So in saying the Bible, the point that she referenced, and then he uses a portion that she referenced, and then she's like, oh, that's one portion of the Bible. That completely negates itself. That's ridiculous. She needs to be consistent. If you're going to bring up something and say that it's the Bible, and then he uses a portion of it, it's just complete contradictory to then say, to pick and choose which portion of what she referenced she will allow. I land there.
It's interesting. Again, we make up words because we want to. All you have to do is let people talk long enough, and that's what I do. I'm not going back and forth with you because you're wrong, and I don't want to take your money either because I don't need it. However, again, she used 2 different examples, and there's no point in trying to nail her down, because unfortunately she's right. And what I think is that a lot of women have an aversion to using the words they need to use to prove points because when they don't agree with something, and that's what we're seeing tonight.
Point it out specifically. So let's do this, because I want my $50. I want my $50. Go to Webster right now. Everything that I said is a fact. When you look up the definition, aversion is included. When you look up the context of aversion as it relates to misogyny, it relates to biasness. So we can put the money on it to make it fun. I don't really care what you need or what you don't need. It was my comment. But all of the things that I have said, so anybody who is listening, fact check that. literally Google Webster definition of misogyny, aversion will be included, and then look at the context of what aversion means to the word misogyny.
And then, okay, even if we'll say you're wrong, that's fine. But I'll pretend like you're right. And if you use what's your definition to what I said, then you see that it's not based on if rooted in misogyny because it wasn't about the gender, which misogyny is. So you're wrong again. And again, you're welcome to letting you keep your $50.
So let's just do it. Anybody want to fact check this? Because I do want my $50. I would love to have a couple of drinks.